Hello and welcome to TSB Talk Sport and Business. I'm Neil Oja on Talk 100.3. We've been speaking about sport, we've been talking about businesses. Now it's time to talk about your and my health. And with the flu season on, I'm sure that you're wondering, how do I get out of this mess? Just like I have been wondering. I've tried everything possible, but looks like the viruses have found their home in my throat. I've been joined by Dr. Venus Rawat. She's a specialist ENT surgeon. Dr. Venus, thank you so much for joining us on TSB today.
Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here.
Dr. Rawat, whenever the flu season hits in, I have got to know that the viruses mutate, they have a different strain, and every year it's a different kind of virus that affects the person who's infected. Is that true?
That's absolutely true. The flu virus usually mutates every season, every year. That's why we recommend that everybody should take the flu vaccines yearly, usually before the start of the flu season. It is usually before late summers or autumn so that you're protected against the flu virus. It may not protect you 100%. You may still get the virus, but the severity is definitely less.
I just wished that someone had told me about that because the severity of the virus that has infected me has been insane. It's been like over 2 weeks and I'm still suffering. My throat is bad. I'm coughing consistently. And for any doctor, the first line would be, give your throat some rest. Stop talking.
Yes, absolutely. You need to take rest. You need to take some hot, warm liquids. You need to do some gargles. And usually simple hydration, immunity building, mechanisms at home usually helps us cope up with the flu.
But what does one do when their profession requires them to speak for 4 hours non-stop?
Yeah, so what you can do is after you are done with your work, when you go home, it's better to take some steam inhalation. Like you can take some sauna baths, you can do some hot water saline gargles. And when you are home, you can avoid talking. You can give your throat complete rest. So that's way it can heal itself.
This is nice. So once I go home, I'm not going to talk to my wife, and then there'll be more troubles.
You can give rest to your family as well. I hope if you'll be a good listener, they would enjoy.
No, I'll tell you, both of us are infected, so both of us are troubled with the throat. But tell me this: viruses, when they infect you, you cannot use or antibiotics don't work. What is the thought behind it?
See, usually the flu season, as we all know, that it is caused by viruses, okay? And antibiotics, they help to prevent bacterial infections. So if you give antibiotics for a virus, which is like a common cold cough, it will not help in any way. Plus, it will give you more resistance. It will make it difficult for your body to actually help when you actually need the antibiotics. Like, when you have some tonsillitis, and when you actually need antibiotics, it is not going to help. So we usually avoid antibiotics for viral illness until, it gets very severe or you have secondary bacterial infections. So the role of antibiotics is absolutely not there.
Interesting. So now, for anyone and everyone who's been telling me that, oh, get on to antibiotics, take Augmentin. Augmentin is the favorite of ENTs, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Augmentin is an absolutely amazing antibiotic, but it should have its indications. You need to give it where it is required. If you start giving it for simple cold, cough, flu virus, then you are just destroying a good antibiotic.
Now, what does one do? You mentioned that, prevention is always better than cure. So you take your flu shots at the start of the season in late summer, early autumn. But if you've not done that, like in my case, I've not done that, and there are so many of them because from the day from Monday on, when I started my show with my bad throat, I received so many messages where people said that, oh, even my throat is bad. Luckily, I'm not speaking on the radio, so it doesn't matter. But so it just goes on to say that there are so many people who are infected with the viruses. What is the first line that of treatment that one should do?
See, it depends what kind of symptoms you're having. Some people with flu, they will have more of nasal congestion. Some people will have throat pain. Some people will just have a mild dry cough. So in case if you're having some nasal congestion, then we would prefer some antihistamines like allergy medicines, some nasal sprays. If you have soreness of throat, then some analgesics, means some painkillers, which will also reduce inflammation in the throat will help. If you have some cough, then maybe some cough syrups, again some nasal sprays might help in that case. So in general, the rules for a flu virus is usually some nasal sprays, some allergy medicine, some pain medicines. And then you can do some gargles, you can take some steam, you can take some good rest, you keep yourself hydrated, and that's how you usually come out of it.
Is there a time frame for this that it'll keep you infected for a week, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days?
Yeah, usually it is self-limiting, but still you suffer at least for 3 to 5 days. After that, you start feeling better. But there are certain cases when the infection is severe, and then we have to do some tests like for influenza A and influenza B. In case you're positive for any of them, you need to take some antivirals like Tamiflu. So there are certain cases who do need antivirals as well. But usually it settles in 3 to 5 days.
And there are something which is called as the Gharelu Nuskhe. I spoke to
Yeah.
my mom. I spoke to my mom, and the first
Yes.
thing she told me was, heat some water up and put some salt and do some gargles. Uh,
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing.
yeah.
That's true. It does
Wow.
work. Yeah, it reduces. See, that's what I was saying for last some time, that you should do some warm saline gargles. Means
When
make
when
your water.
doctor, when you say warm saline gargles, it sounds so medical. While my mom says कि गर्म पानी में नमक डाल के गरारे कर लो.
No, she's absolutely right. I tell this to all my patients. Like, make your water a little bit lukewarm or hot till you can, tolerate it. Mix nice 1 tablespoon of salt in it and do gargles. This is best for your throat. It will
Okay.
help reduce inflammation. Yes.
Interesting. And what about the role of ginger? Is ginger a good source of treatment as well for someone who has bad throat? Ginger, honey, all of these things, or
It
are
it may help. It may help. So usually people do take hot ginger lemon tea. It may help, but then it may not be your first line of treatment. But yeah, it does support.
okay. Now, there's another thing that I love doing whenever I'm unwell, and that is just it's probably something that comes in from my childhood days. Just reminds me of my childhood days, and that is to apply ointments like Vicks and stuff. It just makes me feel that I'm healing. Is it psychological or does it really help?
I would say that it will not help you actually. Steam would be a better option.
Okay.
But yeah, it gives the psychological support that yes, your
Ah.
nose is open, but it will not help you very much.
There you go. Now you killed my childhood ka one thing that I had. That Vicks लगाऊंगा ठीक हो जाऊंगा.
But yeah, it gives you a good psychological support. So if you want to do it, you can continue to do it. There's no harm doing it.
Perfect. So now this is what happens while I'm speaking. I cough. And
Yes,
and the,
yes,
and the
because we've
best
been talking for a long time.
and unfortunately or fortunately for my format of the show, we don't have songs to come in that gives us break, so we have to invariably talk.
Yeah, I can understand that. So yeah, that makes your throat more sore and you will have cough in between.
There you go. Now, the role of lozenges, there are many brands that come in, some medicated, some non-medicated, some Ayurvedic. What is the role of lozenges in a sore throat condition?
So it gives a soothing effect to the throat. It gives hydration. Also, it has hyaluronic acid, most of the lozenges. So it helps in lubrication. Some lozenges, they have pain medicine. So if your throat is aching, it will help relieve the pain. So it does help. It may not be a treatment, but it gives a soothing effect to your throat.
And then I was reading somewhere. See, I do a lot of research. I read a lot, and then I read about sugar candies. Sugar candies really for sore throat?
I don't think so.
Yeah, na? I know.
Yeah. If you want to, just have a comfort in between, you can take, but it does not really help in the sore throat.
Another
Lozenges would be a better option.
another thing that I read, and that was having cold water or ice creams to help reduce inflammation in the throat. Does that work?
I don't think so. I wouldn't recommend that. In fact, like I told you, warm saline, like hot water gargles, would be a better choice.
There you go. Fantastic. I'm trying to bust some myths also as we speak, because there's a lot of information that's available online, and people tend to
Yes,
read upon
yes.
that, and then they become doctors because
No,
Google has
no.
given them certifications.
In fact, I would say that when you're having this sore throat, people do take vitamin C, which is good. But when the throat is extremely sore, we tell patients avoid taking too much of lemon or oranges because it may irritate your throat. So that is the time when you're having the pharyngitis, that is inflammation of throat. You can avoid taking that. Too much lemon, too much orange. You can take a break from that.
But then, don't oranges and lemon have vitamin C that actually help you improve your immunity?
Yes, they do help in improving the immunity, but not when you're actually having a sore throat
Ah,
because it will
okay.
irritate your throat more during that time.
This is so good. I mean, I love this conversation that we're having, not just about the first line of treatment or breaking the myths of antibiotics in flu, but also those smaller things like having ice
Yes,
creams and,
yes.
and sugar candies.
No, 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 no. I don't think that will help. Especially ice creams, absolutely not. Especially when you're having sore throat, it will delay your healing. Sometimes it can make it worse as well.
This is amazing. I for one, I love ice creams, and now the delay has been set for further longer time.
Yes, yes. You need to wait for some time more.
I definitely will. But thank you so much for your time today to share awareness amongst all our listeners, because it's not every day that we get a chance to speak to someone like you who has expertise in the ENT department, and also try and break away from the structural myth that we've been living in, and things that Google just randomly throws on us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's absolutely our pleasure and honor to have you on our show. That is Dr. Ravina's Rawat. She's an ENT specialist, ENT surgeon, in fact, and the kind of conversations we've had. I'm sure that if you heard this, you would go home with a lot of information, and you can probably tell your family that no, let's not do this. Instead, let's try and do ABC. And मम्मी ने जो कहे हैं, salt water के गरारे करो गर्म पानी में डाल के, it is golden rule of ensuring that your sore throat is sorted. Thank you so much, Dr. Venus. Once again, I'm Neil Oja on TSB.